is that the White House, not just the federal government, but the White House actively coerced every major social media platform in America. Let me say that again. Every major social media platform in America to ban speech that the White House did not like.
I put some on and got him on his.
A few moments later.
Hello, Navarro. Suck any good lately. What's wrong, Navarro? I think you like a big in your mouth. Ha ha ha. Page 23. The other boy, page 21. Here it is. What's the educational benefit of talking about What's the educational benefit of talking about that? Is that going to help someone on the SAT score? Hear me kind. Get a shot at that. She can care less. That's a sign. She needs to put down her sign. A second. Oh, you're putting me out. For what? For asking you to abide by the rules. A board member held up a sign, but the audience couldn't hold up signs. This is tyranny, and we're dealing with a corrupt government system.
Meanwhile,
I think it's safe to say that all of you are here today because you are opposed to government censorship. Is that right? Have I got that broadly correct? Okay, we can agree on that much. Book banning is a form of government censorship. Is that, broadly speaking, correct? Professor Knox, you're an expert in this. Let me just ask you. Book banning is a problem under the First Amendment because it's the government telling private individuals, authors, what have you, what they can and cannot write, telling the public what they can and cannot read. Is that, broadly speaking, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So now what if the books were digital only? Could the government ban them then? So no hard copies, no physical copies, it's just digital books. Could the government engage in book banning then under the First Amendment? No problem.
No, that's about a format of the particular book, and that really doesn't matter when it comes to whether or not government is banning a book.
Okay, what if the government made a list of authors whose books it wanted banned, and also went to all of the publishing houses in America, the government did, and said, do not publish the books by any of these authors or we will punish you? Is that a problem under the First Amendment?
My hope is that the government would not be involved in the decisions of a private company.
Good. I would hope so too, but apparently that is not the case in the United States of America today under this administration, because the hypotheticals I've just given you aren't hypotheticals at all. They've happened, and we know that they are happening. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals just ruled in a case, Missouri versus Biden. I'm sure you're all familiar with this. It's going to go down, I think, as a landmark case in the worst possible way in First Amendment law, because what the Court of Appeals found is that the White House, not just the federal government, but the White House actively coerced every major social media platform in America. Let me say that again. Every major social media platform in America to ban speech that the White House did not like. What are we talking about here? Well, we're talking about speech on the COVID-19 pandemic, speech on the 2022 congressional elections, speech related to mask mandates, speech related to vaccines. What did the White House do? Well, over a period of years, they met with on a regular basis the leaders of social media companies and demanded that the speech they did not like be taken down. They further demanded that these same social media companies amplify the White House's speech. Amazing. So take down all of this speech that we don't like, amplify our own speech. Unbelievable. What kind of speech are we talking about? Well, for example, not just public officials, but parents. Here's an example from my state, the state of Missouri. I'm reading it from the opinion here. One parent who posted on nixdoor.com, which is a site operated by Facebook, posted an online petition to encourage his school to remain mask optional, found that his posts were removed without notifying him, and his friends never saw them. Another parent in the same school district who objected to mask mandates for school children responded to Dr. Fauci on Twitter and promptly received a warning from Twitter that his account would be banned if he did not delete the tweets criticizing Dr. Fauci's approach to mask mandates. These objections, amazingly, this censorship was taken at the direct behest of the federal government, the direct behest of the Biden administration. Professor Knox, is this a violation of the First Amendment?
Only a judge can make that determination.
And a judge has. I'm glad you said that. Multiple judges. The district court, federal district court, said there was a direct First Amendment violation. Court of Appeals, unanimously, 3-judge panel, unanimously said direct First Amendment violation. I can't think of another time in American history when the President of the United States, and I say that advisedly because the record reflects that White House officials were sending emails and communications to these companies saying that the President himself wanted the censorship. So you've got the government doing exactly what Professor Knox said is not permitted under the First Amendment, directly coercing the speech of private parties, and not just one or two authors, but parents all across the country, unprecedented in the history of this nation. So I'm glad we're having this hearing today. I hope that we will have more like it to expose the censorship happening at the highest levels of our government. Mr. Chairman, I'd ask that this opinion, this judgment by the Fifth Circuit, Missouri versus Biden, be entered into the record in full.
Without objection.
I will leave it there. I know there are other Senator Kennedys here who want to ask questions, but I just want to say for the record that this kind of censorship is un-American, it is unconstitutional, and I hope it will go down as a sad chapter in American history that we can close here and now. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Liberals, get your popcorn out. I'm about to shit on a Republican. This is Representative Michael McCall. And you may not know him, but if you're on this app, you should. Because he wrote the bill to ban TikTok. But he's also done some other really interesting shit recently. So here's Mike's recent questionable activity. On March 3rd, he authored the TikTok ban bill. Then on March 22nd, he invested $150,000 in Meta. On the 26th, he invested another $150,000. And on the 28th, he invested another $150,000. So about 3 weeks after writing the TikTok ban bill, this man invested $450,000 in TikTok's competitor. Oh, and then what did he do once he saw his TikTok ban was going to be included with all the Ukraine funding? Well, on April 1st, he invested $350,000 more in Meta, followed by the 5th, where he invested that again. And then about a week later, of course, he voted yes on the bill he wrote. So within the span of 40 days, this dude wrote the TikTok ban bill, proceeded to invest $450,000 in the competitor, and then invested another $700,000, taking his total investment in Meta to $1.15 million. And then he voted yes. Now, obviously, the word most people are using here is suspicious, but the word we should be using is criminal. This man wrote the fucking bill to ban TikTok, proceeded to invest more than $1 million in its competitor, whose stock will skyrocket if TikTok actually gets banned, and then voted on the bill to ban it. Are you paying attention yet?
Joe Biden has just announced the TikTok ban bill. Guess which congressman bought Meta stock right before the vote? According to sources, Representative Michael McCall, the author of the bill, bought over $600,000 worth of Meta stock beforehand, under the names of child and spouse. How is this not illegal? The guy who writes the bill to ban TikTok buys stock for TikTok's biggest competitor prior to passing said bill. It's only illegal if you do it. They can do it all they want. Joke's on him though, Meta released their earnings report today and is currently trading down 20% after hours. No clue how this thing pans out. Stocks are not my specialty. However, I hope all the congressmen that voted for this ban and bought stocks with insider knowledge, I hope they all get wrecked. This is setting a dangerous precedent for all other social media platforms and communications apps. The establishment does not like that people are not getting the info from their controlled media, as we used to call them, the news. Does TikTok suck sometimes? Sure. I get frustrated with the platform all the damn time. And I know that TikTok says that for the time being, it will be business as usual on the app. However, for those content creators that monetize their content, I wouldn't be surprised to see their CPM drop. Legal battles against the US government are extremely expensive. TikTok won't be able to afford to pay out like they used to. And maybe that was the plan all along. Force TikTok into legal battles, drop their CPM and earning ability for their top creators, and push them towards Meta, who is all of a sudden coincidentally starting to pay premium for their reels. Funny how that always seems to work in favor of the establishment players.
Can you see me? Can you hear me? Seems like we're back for now. So Trump posted this. I'm asking companies not to let TikTok stay dark. I will issue an executive order on Monday to extend the period of time before the law's prohibitions take effect so that we can make a deal to protect our national security. The order will also confirm that there will be no liability for any company that helped keep TikTok from going dark before my order. Americans deserve to see our exciting inauguration on Monday, as well as other events and conversations. I would like the United States to have a 50% ownership position in a joint venture. By doing this, we save TikTok, keep it in good hands, and allow it to stay up. Without U.S. approval, there is no TikTok. With our approval, it is worth hundreds of billions of dollars, maybe trillions. Therefore, my initial thought is a joint venture between the current owners and or new owners whereby the U.S. gets a 50% ownership in a joint venture set up between the U.S. and whichever purchaser we so choose. And then as a result of that post, TikTok posted this. On X, in agreement with our service providers, TikTok is in the process of restoring service. We thank President Trump for providing the necessary clarity and assurance to our service providers that they will face no penalties for providing TikTok to over 170 million Americans and allowing over 7 million small businesses to thrive. It's a strong stand for the First Amendment and against arbitrary censorship. We will work with President Trump on a long-term solution that keeps TikTok in the United States. And even before this, you had people with TDS saying stuff like this. Quote unquote, we are fortunate that President Trump has indicated that he will work with us on a solution to reinstate TikTok once he takes office. Please stay tuned. Y'all cannot tell me this isn't a play to get that man more praise or to get that man praise. Like, the levels of TDS are absolutely insane. They're insane. TikTok ban is signed into law by Biden. Trump then is talking about trying to save the app. And then TikTok thanks Trump for working to try to find some type of negotiation to keep TikTok available in the US. And it's some ploy to make Trump look good. No matter what he does, it's going to be wrong. Like, these levels of TDS are insane. Many of these TDS victims need help.
I think it's hilarious that the first thing you see when you open TikTok is a message thanking Donald Trump for restoring TikTok. So all you liberals and Democrats who are upset that Joe Biden got TikTok removed, you can now say, thank you, my President Trump. So there's the message, and I just want to say, on behalf of your efforts, Donald Trump, thank you. You're starting off your presidency with a huge victory, and you're not even in office yet. I cannot wait to see what you're going to do starting January 20th. As always, God bless Trump.
And as of today, TikTok is back. You know, I did a little TikTok thing. We have a guy, TikTok Jack. He's a young kid, like 21 years old. And we hired this guy, and I went on TikTok. Can you believe what I'll do to win an election? And we went on TikTok. We won the youth vote by 36 points. So I like TikTok. But I said we need to save TikTok because we're talking about a tremendous... Who in this audience goes with TikTok? Many? Yeah, very popular. And frankly, we have no choice. We have to save it. A lot of jobs. We don't want to give our business to China. We don't want to give our business to other people. So I said, I'll approve, but let the United States of America own 50% of TikTok. I'm approving on behalf of the United States. So they'll have a partner, the United States, and they'll have a lot of bidders, and the United States will do what we call a joint venture.